Hi, folks. It is a Monday update with you here, Jack O'Malley, and just touching base on a few things. Kind of a quiet Monday. All things considered, there are obviously some things to talk about. Getting ready to head to Lansing and begin. We took a break and did a lot of in-district stuff. Now it's back to Lansing, and we'll get back at it. So Wednesday again, I'll have probably a little better update. But just to touch base, a lot of discussion since Friday when the governor recommended schools go to 2-week pause, sports, whatnot. Restaurants, go to only outside dining. People, a lot of the question is, where's the governor? What's going on? And as I said, I think there's the winds of change are in the air. One of the things that I'm chatting with people about the COVID response is on Friday, the governor used a lot of sports analogies, second down and goal to go, bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, that sort of thing. I think the sports analogy that she should have used was that of track and field. What? A runner, a miler, a marathoner, let's say. What do? You don't use it all up at the start of the race because you have to have something to finish. And I think the governor, for reasons that I can happily go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about, but I won't, because just go back and watch 200 plus videos, is the governor put the pedal to the metal and tried to lock things down. And did. And now here we are a year later with people are saying, why was it so restrictive and we're still in a terrible situation? So the governor is in a pickle, and a pickle of her own making, in my opinion. So we move forward. I think that we have to be careful of hospitals. And I saw some of the comments. Well, I'm a small businessman and I've had a rough year. I'm fatigued. What about me? I get that. Again, if you watch my videos, you know that I have been a battler for small business throughout all of this. I think the difference between our hospitals and our businesses right now, and this is why I think we do need to realize that we are in a situation where a variant or whatever it is, we've got an increase in hospitalizations, and that I want to make sure that everybody goes into the hospital, gets proper care, and comes out the other side fine. All right. The problem is if you start stacking them like cordwood in hospitals, there is the possibility of care dropping. And that's not good. So, and you want to make sure that the staffs that are there are energized and ready to go. And when they're fatigued day in and day out dealing with this, it's very difficult. So please, don't assume that because I'm pushing for, that's the other problem with essential workers. I really hated that term, that you're an essential worker. Well, anybody who runs a business or works in a business is essential. So that was another issue right on. Essential worker. We're all essential, right? But in this case, please don't be offended if you're a small business person. I've fought for you. I've sat through hearing after hearing and heard the sad story. This is the situation where I'm talking about making sure that if you are in the hospital, again, if you're that small business person who's fatigued, and I get it, if you're the person who made that comment, now let's say that it's your family member that goes into that hospital. You want to make sure that that hospital staff is energized and ready to care for them, right? So that's all I'm talking about. So we've gotten to this point where everybody is adversarial, and we shouldn't be that way. I can understand why you're PO'd. I am too. But when it comes right down to brass tacks, we've got to make sure that we get as many people across the finish line as we can. And there's, and I know that's one of the hard things. I know there's going to be death with this. It's a pandemic. It's a virus. It's perfect, right? So I guess that's where I'm at with all of that. It'll be interesting to see how the governor handles things moving forward. A couple other things I want to touch base on. This is a side note, but it's kind of ironic. One of the governor's staffers, after the governor had said, please don't go out of state, and whatnot. And if you do, come back and quarantine for 14 days, whatever it was. One of her staffers, I think it was Breitbart, posted pictures of one of her high-level staffers in Florida, goofing and gangling. And The governor's office attacks Breitbart. Well, you might like Breitbart News, you might hate him, whatever. The point is, your staffer was the one stupid enough to post it online. You know what? Hypocrisy is what it is. All right, another thing that really bothers me, and I'm not going to get into it, but I just want to say it. Our president referring to legislation reform as Jim Crow is offensive. Everybody gets offended these days, so it's my turn to be offended. When you look at the history of what Jim Crow was, it was terrible, despicable. What we're talking about is potential safeguards on our elections. Now, some will say, oh, you're making it harder to vote. No. Like I said, if you want to have voter ID, over 7 million people in the state of Michigan have a driver's license. How freaking hard is it to get a driver's license? Not at all. 7 million out of 10 million got it. So let's be realistic, all right? There is one law that's been proposed. And again, just because it's proposed doesn't mean it's going to be exactly that way when we get done with it, right? But one of the bills out of the Senate that's been proposed would allow 16-year-olds, when they get their driver's license, to pre-register to vote so that when they turn 18, they're already there. Doesn't that make that easier for that 16-year-old vote? He doesn't have to go back again? Oh, wait a minute. Jim Crow. BS. Right? So we've got lock boxes that were put out there temporary, or the drop boxes. We want to make sure they're secure. What's wrong with that? Right? Again, we have this whole new no excuse absentee voting. We want to make sure that when these ballots or the requests go out, that they're the real person, and that there's ways to do that. Is that safety or Jim Crow? When you start throwing inflammatory words like that around, all you do is inflame. And I want people to pay attention and read the bills and learn and understand the process. I believe it was 39 election bills have been introduced in the Senate. The House has not introduced any yet because our committee is still working on it. All right. Now, the process is they will go to their committees, these different legislations. They'll get worked on in that committee. Then they'll go, like these 39 will go through the Senate. Then they have to come over to the House and get looked at and discussed. And if they get passed on, then they get voted on. You see what I'm saying? There's a process here. That's what a legislature is supposed to do. Be deliberate and deliberative. So it just boggles my mind, especially when our president throws around those kinds of words. It's not smart, right? So with that, lots of thoughts. I can't solve it all right here on one little video update 3 days a week, but I do like to give you my thoughts as we move forward. Lots of discussion yet to come, but understand the motivation of why things are done, right? You're smart. You'll get it. All right, lots of things to discuss. Lansing this week, back in session Wednesday. I'll update you what we're doing, where we're at, and so on and so forth. All right, so with that, happy Monday, and have a good evening, and we'll talk again on Wednesday. Take care.